What is going on, Sooner Nation, Surgeaholics? Welcome back to Sooner Surge Podcast live show. Appreciate all of you already being on here with all the comments rolling in as always. Before we get started, we cannot move on with this live show until we talk about the news that just broke, and that's Danny Stutsman, Walter Camp, first team All-American. I mean, kudos, Danny Stutsman. Comes back senior year and first team All-American. I mean, that's outstanding, well-deserved, super happy for him and the family. That's awesome, man.
Oh, yeah. Couldn't be more happy for a guy who's I can't think of anyone more deserving All-American status than Danny Stutsman, a legacy player at OU, and now awarded that. I think his draft stock did improve by coming back.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends on what he does in the combine and pro day, but yeah, he definitely didn't hurt his stock coming back for sure. And first team All-American, there's only a handful of guys that make that list. So to be one of those, it's got to improve your draft stock, I would think. And Bobby says he genuinely might be a late first rounder, which would be the first round linebacker since what? Kenneth Murray, probably. Is that right?
Correct. Hey,
I don't remember when Austin Moore went. Yeah.
Joe, I know you're a Sooner Surge Unlimited member. If you do not have the Discord link, make sure you email me. I think you emailed. I'm going to make sure we get that to you. Anyone see the NIL valuations the NCAA released yesterday? I did not. I have heard some just unbelievably wild numbers about some guys in the portal and how much money they may be making next year. And honestly, I'm just going to – it sickens me a little bit. But I don't want to get. I don't want to get into that.
Wait,
but it does sicken me a little.
What sickens you?
The NIL world, Jay.
Because guys are getting valued at so much money.
It's yes.
Well, I mean, it happens all over. It's not just college football. Any pro sports the same way. I mean, guys get overpaid.
There's a difference. They're professional athletes.
What do you think these players are? They're getting paid. They're professionals. Are they not?
If they're professionals, then let's allow us to treat them like professionals. Tom says Brent was lying through his teeth. Brent Venables chose to lie to the fans and media about these 5 receivers. I'm not going to sit here and say he lied because I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either. I think he probably I don't think they even talked about it until after.
No one knows, Jay. No one knows what the players told him. Look, I don't even want to talk about it because it's all speculation.
Yeah, that's right. And what? Let me see here. College football is broken, needs to be fixed. I want the old football back. Not coming back. Won't come back. Never will come back. You got to put some. I don't know. You got to get some stuff out there, policy stuff like that. I don't know what you do though. I mean, to me, here's something that nobody really talks about, Jerm. Everybody talks about the players leaving for more money. Well, you also got to realize if you're a player on a team. What if they bring in another player to take your spot or to compete? Where do you have to probably go? So it's not like you're just leaving. Some guys are leaving because they're bringing other guys in that are better, and they got to go find a spot. Germ, it's not. It's not just all in the players. It's the whole system.
Yeah, and there are 2 receivers who haven't left yet. The big name guys at OU, and that's Gibson and Burks. If they do come back, I would expect both of them to be starters. But Ben says have them sit out a year when they transfer. That would definitely change things, but not really if you're paying them.
Yeah, but you're going to tell. Wait. No, you can't. You're going to tell a player who is playing at a school, they pay somebody to bring him in to go against his position that he can't transfer. He's got to sit out a year. It's bogus.
It's not going to pass you. I didn't say it was going to pass. I said I like it.
Okay. I'm just saying the whole system's flawed. Okay. And it's not a player issue. It's a system issue.
Streak continues for OU. Another player's into the portal, Phil Picciotti, today.
Yeah, I think, and
Brenen Thompson.
And I have no clue, Iowa Sooner, on any wide receiver, and as far as how were they supposed to be out this year? Were they injured? I don't know. All I know is this: they're not at OU anymore. So you got to go get guys to play now. And you got to hope, if you're an OU fan, that Deion Burks and Jaden Gibson stick around. Those two that are still there, besides the freshmen that doesn't sound like the freshmen are going anywhere. But you got to hope you can get those two guys back. And then you go get a few that are in the portal. I think we talked about this in the Discord. By the way, I'm going to just throw a plug in there about the Discord. If you're not in it, become a member, be a part of the Discord. There's some good talk in there. And we were just talking before the live show about this NIL money and how much certain players are maybe being offered in the NIL world. And here's where it comes down to. If you want to be a really good program, you gotta have a line where you say, okay, this is too much money. Let's go find somebody that's a little cheaper but can get us just as much talent. It's a fine line. I mean, you can talk about Ole Miss all you want. Ole Miss had 3 losses last year, and they went and spent a bunch of money in the portal. So maybe what they would have spent less and got somebody that may have been. I mean, there's a fine line. You got to have some really good evaluators of talent on your staff. That's what I think it comes down to more than anything.
What receivers are on campus right now? Zion Reagan, Zion Kearney, Ivan Carrion, Jacob Jordan,
Daniels,
Gibson, Burks,
AJ Daniels, Burks, and Gibson. That's it.
Yeah.
Bowl game is the 27th, I believe. 27th or the 28th. I can't remember which day. It's one of those 2 days.
Correct. Joe says a donor did randomly dropped $250K to OU today alone. Look, I don't know. I know, Jay, we can bring it up. I think Texas, right? I saw on Twitter that Quinn Ewers is debating or thinking through his decision on if he wants to go to the NFL or go back to college. If he does go back to college, it won't be Texas.
Hey, and
what's he going to go?
What's that?
What's he going to go for?
I don't know, but the comment about the $250,000 somebody donated, I'm just going to say, if it was me donating $250,000, I would want to know exactly where that money's going. I'd be like, it's going towards, I want a quarterback. I mean, kind of like the Barstool Sports guy, Dave Portnoy. He's given millions of dollars because he wants the best quarterback out there, and that's where he's putting the money towards. If you're going to give the money, it's going to eventually be where this money needs to go to that, just like Dave Portnoy. That's right. Whoever put it in the chat there, Purple Orca. That's right.
Drum said today the wide receiver from Indiana was out not because of money, but for some other reason.
Who knows?
Who knows?
Hey, Chief, I will probably disagree with this, and here's why. If you put at some point, some schools will stop paying top dollar, I would agree with you. But you know what? It will never be where all schools will, because you know what? Some school will see as a competitive advantage. If other schools start dropping out and not paying as much, they're going to jump in and go all in and try to get a national championship. It's going to happen all the time.
Rhonda says Ewers' girlfriend's at OU. Maybe he will transfer.
Yeah, that's
for
correct.
For him to go to OU would have to fork out $3 to $5 million.
If Ewers comes back, he's getting between $3 and $5 million, I would think. Otherwise, he's going to go.
My only question for you, Danny, and I'm just curious: all those players that OU's lost during the season, people were saying OU didn't have much talent. So I mean, it can't be that they lost all these great players now, but during the season they were just Jags. Can't say both. I mean, both cannot be true.
Yeah, Dalpo saying, I wonder how much money we paid you guys this year. Did nothing. No, we'll never know. I mean, and you know why? As a fan, I don't really care to know. To be honest, I don't. If I knew how much each player was getting, I might even have a different opinion when I watch the game. I just want to be a fan. Now, you do know in pro, though, I know how much Dak Prescott's getting on my Cowboys, and I'm not happy about it. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I didn't say you said they were bad. A lot of people said those receivers aren't very good. They're not elite, not even close to elite. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and that's fair, Sooner Freak. I mean, that's his money. He can do whatever he wants to do.
Yeah. Jay, Brenen Thompson was a little surprising.
Not to me. Nothing surprising to me, Jerm. Not at all.
I do know when Danny Okoye put his tweet out, it caused me a little bit of a scare. That would be a shocker.
Hey, and Chief says, hey, first off, Chief, thanks for the super. You're always awesome at that. I appreciate it. Says this NIL money is not sustainable, Jason. It's not unlimited. Donors will stop giving when they see kids get paid and then walk after year one. Would you continue to pay for that? I stopped already. I understand. Hey, Chief, I totally understand where you're coming from. But I'm just saying another school will do it. I don't think everybody would stop it. I think some schools would. Yeah, I would agree with that. I think there's a fine line, too, of how they're spending the donors' money, how the culture of the program. I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. But if you're donating money and players are leaving, but you're winning, people will still donate. It all comes down to when you're winning or losing. If you're losing, then the donations might stop. Not if you're winning.
This comment from Mez says Brenen Thompson apparently wanted more NIL. Oh, you said go check the market. I mean, so again.
What's your real quick? What's your thoughts on something? I get your question. Sorry to interrupt. It comes from this. I got to ask you. If you're the coach of OU and a guy wants to go check his value and get it in the portal, do you take him back?
Yeah, for the price you said. For example,
yeah, I would agree.
If someone comes to me and say, "What will you offer me?" and they say, "Okay, we're going to offer you $850,000," and they say, "Well, I'm going to go check what I'm worth in the portal," and they come back to you 2 weeks later and say, "Look, I'll play for $850." Okay. I mean, I'm not gonna up the ante, but I agree with some of the comments here. Look, I think Brenen Thompson. Go check it out. I think OU right now is in the position and in the frame of mind to think, okay, we're going to go get some guys out of the portal at receiver. It's almost like with what happened this year, the decimating injuries, the lack of being able to get those guys on the field or stay on the field, I think OU's just ready to kind of switch that room up.
And I'm with you and Joe on that. I think if he checks it and he wants to come back for what you offered, I would probably do the same thing. You can't compare it to job. It's totally different than a job because it's just a different situation. Thompson will end up at OSU or Arky. What about Jaden Rowe? Great landing spot for Jaden Rowe.
I think that's a good spot for him.
K-State, I think it's a great spot for him.
Yeah. Look, again, I have not heard from Brent Venables. Neither has anyone here about whether or not who he wanted back. That word wanted, I don't think you're ever going to get from the coaching staff, whether or not they wanted someone back. It's just going to be, they're out there. Everyone's going to have their take on it. Unfortunately, it's the world we live in, Jay, where there's not a lot of transparency in the NIL portal world. And I'm against that, actually. I think, of course, there's not any transparency in the medical field with injuries.
You wish they could just say how much everybody's making?
It should be posted, Jason.
I've always thought I would love for it to be a public thing, just like NFL, but you're just not going to – it's not going to happen. Not for a while.
It should be public. And I think that the caveat, the issue that this is going to cause down the road is, let's just say, very hypothetical, OU was to say, yeah, let's give $3 million to Quinn Ewers. And Michael Hawkins is on campus right now for, let's just say, $750,000. Michael Hawkins and his agents and his family's going to say, look, if you're paying Quinn $3 million.
Stop. You can't compare that, man. It's a ridiculous take. You told me that earlier on the phone. I thought it was dumb.
I think players that are on campus are going to demand more money, Jay.
Players that's freshmen that are going to demand a fourth-year guy's been in 2 playoffs? Same. I mean, what are you talking about? Ewers is in the 2nd consecutive playoff.
Okay, then use someone else. Use the right tackle as an example.
What are you talking about?
Use the right tackle as an example.
Use the right tackle. What about it?
The Rice tackle.
The Rice tackle. Okay, what about it?
Again, Jay, we live in a world, Jay, where we're dealing with human beings.
Yeah,
human beings are greedy. I know, I was your brother. Human beings are greedy, selfish. Jay, they're going to want more money when other people are making way more than them and doing the same workouts as them. Like, please, I get the performance.
It's not about that.
I get the performance.
It's not about that.
I get the performance side of things. But what if a guy shows up and doesn't perform well? They're not taking money from him. They're not rewarding the guys on campus who are performing.
Yeah, Germ, guys like R. Mason Thomas is going to get paid more money this year if he comes back. Am I wrong?
R. Mason will this year.
Guys that performed really well last year are going to get paid more money. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong on that.
So what are you saying? I don't know what you're saying here. These guys are evaluated on their performance, and they probably we talked to the guy.
I'm saying what Jeff is saying. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
Germ, you're right about everybody will want more money.
That's all I'm saying.
That's not the point, though. That's not the point. You can't compare.
It's the point I'm making. It's just a bad world. It's a bad NIL world.
Yeah, Colin Kennedy, Jaron Bradley.
It would be a great get.
It would be a great get. He's the guy that has the physical tools. Him and Emmett Jones have a great relationship. In fact, 2 years ago, I thought he was coming to OU. Last year, I thought he was coming to OU. Maybe this year they will I don't know.
What Hunter, what was his stats at Boston College? Did he play much?
I don't know. I did see that their quarterback's going to Florida State. Yeah, all those guys are going to get increases.
6 catches, 94 yards, 2 tutties. That's his stats.
I think the only reason I said something, Jeremy, is I think you're looking at it a little bit differently. Like in the NBA, if the Thunder go get a free agent guy for a lot of money, are they going to pay their other backup center a lot more money because they went and got a free agent center? No. What's the difference? Is he going to be mad because they went and got Hartenstein this year? If you're on the to answer that question, if you're a backup center on the Thunder, maybe you're not even a center, Kenrich Williams, they went and got Hartenstein. Is he going to be upset now they went and got Hartenstein? I want more money. What's the difference?
There's a little difference there.
What's the difference, Germ?
Okay, let's just, for example, say a guy who's at Arkansas
contract. That's it. The difference is a contract.
A guy that's at Arkansas Pine Bluff playing that level of football, and I'm a receiver at OU, and I'm thinking, you know what? I could have probably torn it up there too. I mean, NBA, they're all in the NBA. They're all in the same league, Jay.
Okay, but here's the difference. It is different, but here's the thing. And I think you ask any probably college player, this is probably one of the reasons. I think the number one reason why you're seeing so many guys in the portal is because if you go to the portal, you get more money than if you stay. I think that's, and I think even I believe I've even heard players say that have stayed, that they said I could have got more money for leaving. I think that's kind of the generality is if you go to the portal, some school is going to pay you more than you're worth. It's just going to happen. Some school is going to overpay you.
Absolutely is. Kenneth, welcome back. Glad you're on here because a couple weeks ago said never coming on this show again. I'm glad you're here. See, that's what I was telling you about the Jackson owner and Dylan Gabriel's deal. Gabriel was making less money as a starter. They got family to take care of back home. Some of them kids too. Well, Dylan Gabriel's decision to go to Oregon, yes, he got paid really, really well. And also, it was maybe the smartest decision he's ever made in his life.
Zias is laughing at something. I'm not sure what, but something in the chat probably.
Hey, I would love Jaron Bradley, Jay. What's his 40 time? I'm curious. 4 or 5?
Yeah, I don't think he's super speedster. RC says time to talk about the existing OU
Nick
players.
Anderson could be.
Hey, time to talk about the existing OU players. I tell you a guy who kind of just from reading between the lines, I may not be right on this, but it seems like maybe RSJ is going to come back. I don't know that for sure. Kind of reading between the lines, between the stuff.
RSJ, Robert Spears Jennings?
Yes.
Were you expecting him to go pro?
He could have. He could.
Yeah, his draft stock would not be very high, Jay.
No, and I think he'll be back. I mean, there's going to be some guys. I mean, I think the big ones right now, if you're OU on defense, R. Mason Thomas, Dominique Williams, those two.
If you're able to keep both of those guys, maybe that's the money they need to be spending.
Well, you got to get some offensive help, Jeremy.
But on defense, you got to get those guys.
Let me ask this question to the chat. How much? I'm not even going to give you the name of the quarterback. I'm not going to give you a name of a quarterback. Any quarterback out there, how much is too much to spend on the quarterback in the portal? What is too much money to spend?
You can't spend more than $2.5 million. No chance.
I'm not
now,
saying
if it's Quinn Ewers, though, I guess you'd go 3.
Joe
if
says
it's
3.
If it's Quinn, I'd probably go 3 for a year.
Danny says $1 million. Hey, Danny, listen. Hey, Danny, if you're going to say $1 million, and I respect that, then you cannot be on there saying, oh, you aren't trying to get players in the portal.
Yeah, you can't, Danny.
You can't play both sides. You can't say, oh, you're not spending money. Why aren't they spending money and getting the big dogs? And then saying they shouldn't pay more than $1 million for a quarterback. Which one is it? You're either going to spend money in the portal or you're not. Yeah, I think that's the hard part is where is that line? Where do you draw that line? You know, where do you draw that?
Danny, what about a guy that has produced in college? That's what you got to think about. Joe says Quinn is expected to get $5 million next year after getting 3 as a backup.
I think he's talking about Arch, maybe. Probably Arch.
Well, if Quinn comes back to college, he's not going to play at Texas.
Yeah, and I did see this size today. That deal had to have been that was done before he even entered the portal. It happened. So
Agree.
That was already done. You know, he was talking that was done deal. He didn't even. In fact, you couldn't contact him. It was a no contact on his portal entry.
Would love Marvin Jones Jr. Would absolutely love it.
Yeah, material will be $2 to $3 million. I would agree with that evaluation, Michael. And so, do you pay $2 to $3 million for material if you can get him? Yes or no, Jeremy?
What happened?
Do you pay $2 to $3 million for material? Yes or no?
2 is tops.
You would pay 2 for him.
2. Kenneth said there's a wide receiver that wants to go to OU right now. OU hadn't even called him. And that's maybe because what Kenneth says is receivers are a little easier to replace. Quarterbacks a little tougher. I mean, I would agree with that. I think receivers can be replaced very, very easily. If it's the right guy in the right scheme, has the right tools that you want, specifically blocking downfield, specifically having a little size on him.
Yeah. Chief says the limit on any player should be no more than 10% of your revenue share that is available to players. When they start doing that, this insanity will stop. Not until then. Yeah, here's the thing, though. Since they opened up NIL, and NIL is a real thing now, I don't think they'll cap it because they'll say that's not fair to the players who are making money. They'll say they can make as much as they can make. I don't know if I'm right on that, but I think that's probably what would happen is they're not going to put a limit on it. And now, unless they start going salary caps, if they start doing that, that's a whole nother ballgame. There's so many other things they have to go step through for that. I think
something's going on
with my point, though, Chief. I see your point for sure.
I don't know if you can hear me right now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, there's something going. My internet was flickering.
No, I was talking, so when I'm talking, I usually don't listen. But yeah, go ahead.
Well, you weren't on the screen; it was spinning. So.
No, okay.
Yeah, there has to be a cap, but there's not going to be a cap, Aaron. There's just not going to be. Clearinghouse needs to start. Yeah, I would agree.
Hoodman.
Boo-hoo, man.
Oh, I thought I said boo-hood, man.
Samuel, thanks.
I hope there's a cap.
I call the jerk all the time. People usually say it's a typo.
I do that quite a bit with you. It just comes up when I type. It says jerk instead of germ.
Hey, let's open up the phone lines.
Yeah, and I Michael, it's going to be a similar to model to probably NFL when you see certain positions are getting worth more money. And you say running back doesn't have a huge value. I would probably agree with that. Do you think OU is going to get a running back out of the portal?
Yes.
You do?
I think they're getting ready to lose it. I think they're going to lose another running back.
One more?
Minimum, Jay. 90s asked about merch. We are working on getting a merch line through the Fan Stop. By the way, check out the Fan Stop at thefanstop.com. Sign up for the Shirt of the Month Club. Would be a great Christmas gift, a gift that gives something each and every month, not just in December. Use code SURGE, 10% off your first 3 months. Shirt of the Month Club, thefanstop.com. They also have other apparel there. Check them out today. Who we got?
We got Platoon 20. What's up?
Hey guys, I know this topic has come up a bunch in the past, and a lot of people chatter wanting a cap, which I agree. A cap would be good. The problem is the courts are not going to allow that. Like,
That's right.
Say the example that the guys that you, let's say all the schools in America met together and they put a cap on principal salaries, right? That's illegal.
Not going to happen. Yeah.
So the only way that can happen is if the players come together as a collective bargaining unit and agree to that, then they'll put a cap in. That's how the NFL works. But unless it's a collective bargaining unit the players can participate in, there's no way that's going to happen.
That's right. You're exactly right. Good call.
Yeah,
Good call, Platoon. That's exactly right. That's why I don't think that it'll happen unless. So
made it pretty clear there, Jay.
Yeah. What's up, Greg?
Made it
How are
pretty
you
clear.
tonight?
I'm good. I'm perturbed though. I'm just going to rant here. I'm so sick of this NIL mess. I mean, it's so distracting from the actual football set to be played. I mean, in the pros, you know, a player can demand money based on production they did at the college level or somewhere else, a high level of that sport. But you got kids coming out of high school who've truly never played a down of truly competitive football in their life, thinking that they need to be millionaires. You got players like Brenen Thompson, who has less than 500 yards over close to 4 years of playing football at Oklahoma, 4 touchdowns, and again, close to 4 years. And he thinks that he's going to test the waters out there and just earn some paycheck that he really earns. It's like, just give me a break. I mean, we know in politics that throwing money at a problem doesn't always fix it. And throwing money into college football has not made this any better at all. It's only hurting the smaller teams. It's giving these players a big inflated ego that they shouldn't have. And it's stretching all the donors in college football way beyond what they should. Like, come on, they're already asking all these donors and everyone else for so much money. It's like, when is this going to stop? It's insanity at this point. I know it's not going anywhere, but I'm just so sick of it. I want college football to be college football and not whatever this mess it is now. It's
Hey.
stupid. That's all I got to say.
Hey, thanks, Greg.
Hey, thanks for
Appreciate
the
it.
call. You can get off
Jared,
your
let me say
soapbox,
something.
but I'm right there. I'm right there with Coconut Greg on this, Jay. I will say this. The game itself, when the games are played, I'm all for it. I love it. To me, that hasn't changed much. I am sick of it, and I'm going to watch what I say right now, Jay, and I don't do that very often, but I've seen numerous college athletes posting on social media about some of the stuff they're getting. Not getting from colleges, but what they're going out and buying for themselves or others.
Hey, let me say something. I got to say,
it's not their fault. It's not their fault, Jay. It's not their fault.
I'm going to play a little devil's advocate, because a lot of the guys people are talking about, if you are a college football player and in your mind, yeah, you want to make the NFL, but haven't been playing that well, might not make the NFL. Why would you not, when you're 18 to 22, transfer and make as much money as you can? These guys that probably aren't going to have an NFL career, why not transfer 2 or 3 times and try to make money? You're an 18 to 20-year-old player that may not be in the NFL. Go make some money. I mean, it's right there for you.
Jay, they are. They are. That's what they're doing.
Well, okay, it'd be stupid not to, wouldn't it?
Speaking of making money, there is a player I saw in the chat. Let's talk football for a second, because I saw in the chat talking about, you need to get an H back. That a guy like Dimitri Flowers, like they used to have, or Trey Millard. I've said this before, Jay. We've had this conversation. I don't know why Jaron Cannon can't move to tight end or that position.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going to pick moving guys around. They tried to move Jacoby Johnson last year. How'd that work out?
It didn't work out, Jay. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Jaron Cannon, and I've been a Jaron Cannon fan since OU went after him from Clemson. In my opinion, he's got to be on the field next year, Jay, in some way, not just special teams. He is way too talented. He is way too talented to be sitting the bench.
Jerm, I understand. Yeah, he's talented, but he's got to be able to make plays on the field. And obviously, if he wasn't, I think Brent Venables coaching. Hey, wait. I think Brent Venables pretty good at coaching defense, right?
Yeah.
And they didn't play him a lot on defense.
Then play him somewhere else is my point, Jay.
I see where you're coming from. I'm just saying, like,
when he did play on defense, he played pretty well this year.
And I agree with he's a freak athlete. He's an absolute freak athlete. I want to see him out there. I just wonder where's the best spot for him. And we'll see. I don't know.
I know where the best spot is. I've already said it. On the field.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, you did.
Hey, Jay, tell me something right now. They could have put Canick.
Something.
They could have put Canick.
Something.
They could have put Canick at tight end. Last year, 8 weeks in, he'd done better than Bauer Sharp. The guy can block, I promise you, better than Bauer Sharp.
Hey, I wouldn't mind that, but Germ, I just don't know if that'll happen. Now, you might see him. Maybe they play him in the tight end in the bowl game because they're down to Jake Roberts, Caden Helms, and Devon Mitchell. I don't know who the starting wide receivers are going to be.
Doesn't look like he's leaving, Jake.
That's another thing that college football has to fix. The bowl games. You got to fix it. The time frame with the portal, with coaching changes,
you don't need them.
And then you're going to go play a bowl game. Like who's going to be playing in the bowl games? I understand it's great for the youngsters. I'm just saying, like the time frame with the portal, with recruiting classes, I think they need to fix all that too. I don't like the time period.
Yeah.
I don't know what you would do though. That's the problem. What do you do? What do you do, man? I don't know. Bill Belichick will figure out.
Give everyone 10 extra days of practice and don't play the bowl games. You just play the playoff games.
What's funny is people are in there saying the NIL, you got to, they can't just keep paying this much. Well, North Carolina just said they're going to raise theirs from $4 million to $20 million. So there's going to be teams that do that. I mean, they want to win, baby.
Win,
right?
Baby. We got the phone lines open. Phone lines are open. Give us a holler. Give us your take.
Tyler says it's tricky because you also have to be enrolled in school. There's so many things. Yeah, you're right. Thoughts on Spielman, the Tennessee receiver? Like him. I like him. I'm not like a massive over the top fan. I think he's a guy that could come in and maybe contribute. But here's what you got to ask yourself. I think if you're going to, I've always been a believer in this. To me, you build your team in the high school ranks. Portal guys, in my opinion, should be guys that can come in and contribute right away and make a difference on the team. That's what I think you should use a portal for. Go get a guy that's going to come in and make a difference year one, and maybe you only have him 1 year. Maybe that's it, and then they graduate or whatever. So before we get to Daniel, Zaya says, are all y'all crying NCAA do something? Realize the moment the NCAA tries something, Big Ten will make them move. That's right. You're exactly right, Zaya. This is a touchy deal. It's kind of on a little teeter-totter here, and I don't know which way it's going to go. Let's get to Daniel. What's up, Daniel?
What's up, fellas? But I just had to say this too. Just seeing the transfer portal, I was talking about this with my best friend Strike, and me and him with like the receivers, for example, we want to know the reasoning why. I heard Germ say about the money situation. I get that, but like I said the other day, statistically, how often do you see these players improve from when they've transferred? And we just kept asking the why, and then we started going into a whole bunch of other different things. And we used like the 2001 Miami Hurricanes, for example. We were like, go back and look at that roster and look how many stars are on that roster. I guarantee there's people got injured, different things like that. I mean, you look at the running back there, Willis McGahee, Frank Gore, Clinton Portis. Yeah. You think that all of them played at the same time? No, they probably did. They had to wait their turn. Yep. And I don't know. To me, it doesn't really make sense. You're injured, and then now I'm going to go test the waters to see what's better out there. And I've even heard Nick Saban they think the grass is always greener. It's not. But some of them I would really want to ask them, what is the reasoning behind this? Is it just because it's there now? I can transfer and I just want to do it because. But it doesn't make sense to me, literally. And I'm not trying to sound like this old head that's like, back in my day, I'm not that old, but it doesn't make sense.
I get it. And I would love to be able to, it will never happen, but if a guy transfers, they have to be interviewed by the media. If I find out, talk to him.
I don't even think the media, what I think Daniel's saying is and I agree with, is at least some kind of transparency, Jay, where a statement as to it's not going to happen. And I'm curious with Daniel, because Daniel, you're not too far removed from playing college football. You're not an old head. There's got to be some frustration with the lack of people waiting these days to get their job. You know what I mean?
Yes, exactly. And it's not pros. And I don't ever want college football to be professional. It's college football. You go to that school, you made a commitment to that school. You made a commitment to that coaches. The difference between college football and pros is that college football is where you build this brotherhood. You go through these things and you build it together with your coaches and your players, and it's lifelong. It's built. And I feel like a lot of these players, I don't want to say they're giving up on their teams, and I don't know them, and I'm not trying to bash them. I mean, I know the other day you're talking about people think this is a podcast of hating and bashing. No, it's opinionated, like I heard some people say, and people are going to give their opinion. And my opinion is, I feel like as if there is a lot of quitting, a lot of lying, a lot of just different, different things along those lines that these players are doing. Oh, I'm injured. You didn't do much this year, so now I'm going to go out and transfer. And then say, Rodney got hurt every year, and I'm just use Rodney for an example. His brother transferred. Rodney got hurt almost every year when he was there when I was. Rodney messed his knee up. He damn near broke his neck. Excuse my language. He did different things like that. Rodney stayed, and Rodney had a pretty consistently successful career, even with all those injuries. So I'm just an example. So how do we know that, Nick, if I go to, Michigan, I'm not going to get injured again? So now is it to then blame Michigan? And I'm not trying to bash them, but I'm just saying I feel like there's a lot of.
But don't you think though, Daniel, this is my perspective as a fan outside seeing it happen. If I'm a player and my career's not going very good and I'm not sure if I'm going to be in the NFL, don't you think those guys are going to, if somebody's going to pay me more money, it might be $100,000, but that's $100,000 in the bank.
Yeah, I agree with, and I know you say, I saw you say, a couple of minutes earlier about the devil's advocate. I agree with that, and I don't know. Maybe if I was playing, maybe I'd said, hey, I don't know if I'm going to go pro. Like use Isaiah for example, I got a few calls from a few NFL teams. I never went pro, so maybe I would have said, hey, maybe I just need to take this advantage of getting some money in my pocket and see what's out there. And if that's the case, I mean, who am I to judge? But. My thing is using an example like Nick, who Nick has the potential to be a great receiver and go pro.
Yeah.
With some of these players, do you jeopardize making multi-millions with having a successful career coming back to OU next year? Maybe I'm biased because it's OU. Do you jeopardize that by transferring and say the grass is greener, or do you go, I'm going to continue working at OU, get better, come back, be a top 5 receiver, and then make millions over multiple years in an NFL career, as opposed to $1 million in 1 year at another school? So I don't know. It's just, I feel like it's the transfer portal's there, and it's just being used to be used because it's there. That's just what I feel like. I don't know.
Yeah.
Hey, I wonder though if you were. Yeah, appreciate it, Daniel, for the call.
Yes, sir.
I wonder, Germ, and this would be something you'd have to look up, but how many guys who transfer are guys that it really helps for their NFL career? I think you even look at Dylan Gabriel. He transferred. He made whatever is $2 million, whatever they offered him, whatever, I don't know what it is. He made that much more money. It's not going to help his NFL career at all, but he made more money than he would have made at OU.
Yeah, and the last statement
that win the national championship.
The last statement that Daniel said was maybe the most accurate, and it's the fact that the NIL, it's really not even the play. It's the world we're in now, unfortunately, and that's the NIL world. It is in control because any one of us, it's especially, in my opinion, college guys, Jay, unless you have someone in your court that's really advising you on things, looking to your future, I mean, you're going to take that money.
Well, and that's the thing is, and I liked what Daniel said about playing for your team, the name on the back of the jersey. I mean, the name on the front of the jersey, all that stuff. I think it's great. I would love that. But I think when the term and it's even thrown around by coaches as this is a business. It is. If it's a business, players are going to go see if they can make more money elsewhere if it's a business.
Hey,
that's just what's going to happen. And I think what it does is it dilutes the team aspect of things, because you don't know if next year these guys are going to be around. It dilutes that, but at the same time, what do you expect with what the way it is these days? I mean, I don't really blame them. I mean, it's just a different era, man. Unfortunately.
Hey, I saw the comment about the Soul Mission not bringing in big time players. There are some big time recruits that are coming to OU. And no, they're not top 5 recruiting class. I mean, to me, Soul Mission is a part. I'm not going to sit here and say Soul Mission is the only reason people go to OU. That's a ridiculous take. I don't know why people are acting like that would be the whole reason they come here. Never have I ever even said that. I said for some players, that is what matters most. For others, it doesn't. Like, I don't want to get on the rampant about that.
Yeah.
In fact, I haven't even heard OU talk about Soul Mission much lately.
Yeah, and I don't know about.
Not surprising, Eric. It's been his worst 2 years. He's had 2 bad years for sure.
Yeah, and I see a lot of people talking about maybe the settlements and all that, and that'd be something. I think we'd have to have, Hunter could pull all that stuff up. I don't have it in front of me to really go over all that, but you're also going to have guys. Hey, you're also going to have guys like Williams Neri, who was a highly recruited guy, wanted a lot of money. He got a lot of money year 1. He didn't play hardly.
Never played.
Now he's going to Nebraska. Probably going to get a lot of money for going to Nebraska. He may not pan out at all. He may not even make it to the NFL. Who knows? But you know what he's going to have is a lot of money in the bank. And it's unfortunate, but that is the world we live in with college football these days. And I think here's the question you got to ask yourself. What's it going to take for OU to move into the direction to be a playoff team year in, year out? Is that going to take more money in the portal? Is it going to take more money in high school recruiting that you're
more money, period. More money, period. That's what it takes.
Yeah, I agree.
And Jay,
it's an arms race, man. It's an arms race.
Right now, I saw the comment that OU has 0 big losses here. I do think Nick Anderson, big loss. I think he was going to be a great receiver. That's my opinion. I may be wrong on that. But I do want. Why did someone say Unfair Sports was on here? They weren't on here. It was Daniel Brooks. It was not Jay from Unfair Sports.
Huh? I don't even know what you're talking about, Jerm.
There was a comment in there about having. Yeah. So, Eric Deshaun. I think Deshaun, as well, is in the same boat as Nick Anderson. The potential that he had was massive. I agree with that. Nick Anderson and Deshaun McCullough, 2 biggest losses for OU so far. Jay, how early till they get a guy out of the portal that's meaningful? Next week,
I would think maybe this weekend they'll sign a guy, probably a guy or 2. I would think, but I don't know.
I like the California receiver. I like if OU could land Hunter from California and Jaron Bradley. To me,
I like
really good gets out in the portal.
I like Virgil as well, and he's good friends with Jaden Gibson. A lot of talk right now on the Rice offensive tackle, which he is, I think, maybe the 12th rated guy in the portal right now, and I think maybe the number 1 or 2 tackle in the portal. But I haven't watched enough of him to know what they'd be getting in him, but they do need an experienced lineman. I think we could all agree on that. But here's where it starts with me, Jerm. When it's going to start with quarterback. Who's the quarterback going to be next year? I know Arbuckle's really good with quarterbacks. I know he'll scheme it and they'll score points. But you do need a quarterback that's not going to turn the ball over, that's going to make plays when they need it. So who's that going to be? And is it almost like – I don't know the answer to this, but if you're a receiver wanting to go to OU, is your first thing going to be who's the quarterback going to be? Or do you even care about that? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I like Hawkins a lot, guys. I like Michael Hawkins a lot. I'm just wondering the SEC schedule next year, a new offense, new coordinator, and you would be throwing Hawkins out there with only really 3 to 4 games under his belt. Is that the road you want to go, or do you want to go get an experienced quarterback and let Hawkins kind of learn under Arbuckle for 1 year? I'm asking y'all. I mean, I think I've already said my answer on that. But
speaking of quarterback, I saw people talking about DG. Think about this. DG's been in college 6 years. The talk of Quinn Ewers. If Quinn Ewers were to come back to college, he's not playing for Texas. He's going to go get paid mightily probably. And
oh, yeah, Texas won't pay him because they got Arch
and
Manning.
break records. He may go get paid $4 million and play somewhere and break records. And to me,
where will he be drafted?
A guy like that who's what?
Why do you do that?
I'm mad at I'm frustrated at my phone. I guess I'm lagging or something.
All right, you get your thing talking, and I'll talk. Go.
I just think a guy like him is one you've got to pay more for. Like I think OU would be ridiculous to not have conversations if he were to enter the portal.
Well, if he enters the portal and doesn't go pro, he will make a bunch of money. Now, where do you think he would be drafted? Where do you think he'd be drafted? Quarterback wise, what quarterback would he go?
Quarterback class.
I don't know if Hunter. I don't know if Hunter can drop it in the chat if he knows what kind of projections he's at. But you're going to have Shedeur Sanders ahead of him. He'll be drafted ahead of him. I'm trying to think who else you're going to have.
Be several ahead. Okay.
Yeah,
I would say second or third round.
Is this a money issue?
I get that DG would be. There's no way DG's winning the Heisman. I mean, I get if you had a vote, you would vote for him, and that's great. But I will say this about, and I don't want to get in the DG debate, but I mean, Bo Nix didn't win the Heisman close last year and had almost 1,000 more yards than DG, and way more tutties and less. I think same number of interceptions. So,
wait,
no one really wanted Bo Nix to win.
I didn't see that. Did you? What happened? Joe, drop it in. I didn't see it. If you could drop it in there. Need material no matter the cost. Sanders, Beck, Aller, Ward all ahead of him. Okay, let's look at the draft class next year. What is it? I mean, is it better to wait? I don't know, man.
Michael Edward, I'm sure you're talking about Oregon too.
They haven't said the school. I saw this today too. I would guess Oregon.
I'm sure it's Oregon.
Yeah. Yeah, they do the same thing they did with Gabriel, just bring in a new quarterback and go with it. So not in the first round projected. So is it tampering to go back channels and offer NIL money? If so, I don't care. Tampering happens all the time. I don't even know if it's even
is it even a thing anymore? Is it called tampering?
Probably not. People just do it all the time. Let's get to the caller. Who we got?
We got Jackson online.
What's up, Jackson?
What's up, guys? Can y'all hear me?
Every night you say, "Can we hear you?"
Well, because I want to make sure you can hear me, dude. I don't know if my internet.
We'll let you know if we can.
Okay. But Jay, I think it was you that said, or somebody said it about the wide receivers, and I know OU fans. We've seen it on Twitter. They're flipping out because we're losing all these guys, and OU doesn't already have 3 receivers committed that are transfers and stuff. And that's how a lot of OU fans are going to be. They're going to overreact because it's day 3 or day 4 of guys starting to enter in. There's transfers and everything. And the reality is, if you're a wide receiver, why would you want to come to Oklahoma if you don't know who your QB is going to be?
Well, here's the thing, though. I brought that up earlier, but I do agree with what Bobby said, though. I think when whoever they're having in for visits, they're probably telling them who they think their quarterback's going to be, or if they're going to get a portal guy. I think they probably know all that stuff.
Yeah, and then also I just think it's ridiculous why OU fans are already acting like Oklahoma's like not willing to spend any money for year 3 on high-level transfer players just because they don't maybe get a guy like
they haven't shown that they are, Jackson.
No, but Jeremy, the thing is,
Jackson, have they shown?
But all right, what?
Have they shown that they're going to spend money yet?
Have they shown that they're not going to
spend
money?
Talk is cheap.
This cycle. They haven't shown they're not going to spend money. That's my point. Also, but Jeremy, you're right. They haven't shown they are going to. We're going to have to wait and see. But there's a lot of guys obviously, Jay, you mentioned the Rice offensive lineman that's going to come in this week. The cornerback from Washington State. You have the dude that's friends with Jaden Gibson. You have even more wide receivers and stuff transfer. So it's like it's just going to be a wait and see game. And if you're Oklahoma, your dream scenario is to get John Mateer as your transfer QB to come in next year. But also, if that doesn't happen, me personally, I would be fine if you go and get a guy to be a backup to Hawkins, but you roll with Hawkins next year.
Well, you're either
Well,
going to go get
hey,
if you're
and
going to
thank-
wait, if you're going to go get Mateer to start, then you're saying that you're not ready. You're saying Hawkins isn't ready. So if you can't get Mateer, you're going to go get somebody else to start, right? I think Jackson's gone. I don't know where he's at,
Hey,
but he's gone.
thanks. Hey, thanks for the call, Jackson. Hey, Tom, are you calling me a clown? Tom says OU has committed 20. And listen, Tom, I was the one that said OU hasn't shown anything that they're going to spend money. I said talk is cheap. Listen, people can commit to a lot of things, Tom. I can commit to a lot of things. They may very well say they're going to spend $21 million. But let's start hearing some offers and how much they're paying right now. Are there any big time names in the portals, Jay?
He wasn't referring to you, he said. What?
Well, he has to be because Jackson took the other side of it, Jay. Jackson said they are proving they're spending money. Yeah, I need to see it too, Bobby. That's my problem. Talk is cheap.
Well, here's the thing that we haven't talked about is how are you spending the 17 to 21? That's what nobody knows. Are they going to spend it on 4 or 5
players?
Are you going to spend it on 4 or 5 players out of the portal? Or are you going to spend? I mean, I don't know. No clue. I do know they haven't. When you think about the portal in the first 3 years under Brent Venables, you think Dominique Williams, they probably spent quite a bit of money to get him, I would guess. Other than him, I'm trying to think who would be the next biggest guy they got in the portal as far as money-wise. Who do you think it would be?
I don't think Mateer is the biggest one.
Well, I understand where Jackson's coming from there. He's saying if they can get Mateer, they would want Mateer. If not, they would roll with Hawkins. I don't know because I don't know what Ben Arbuckle's thinking. I don't know. Like I said before, I like Hawkins a lot. It's the same thing I said last year with Joshua Bates, Jeremy. You remember this. I said, is Joshua Bates the guy you want at center with no experience going in the SEC? And all I'm saying is new offense, new coordinator. The schedule is brutal again, and Hawkins has 3 or 4 games under his belt. It would be way better if Hawkins would have played this whole season. They'd have been way better off.
Yeah.
They would have been way better off.
I do like what Kenneth says here about JUCO route some. Yeah, I think Michael Boganowski going to be very good. And by the way, Tom, I apologize.
Powers
You're talking to Coconut Greg, not me. I always got to apologize every night.
Powers are going to be good too. Trivia. Hey, I got a quick trivia though, and this is going to be so easy. You better have your typing fingers ready. We were talking about NIL earlier, the NIL world, and who would, and I need the name of the character in the show, who would be the quote NIL backer from Friday Night Lights? Give me a name. The guy that would really be supportive, throwing money out there. It's an easy question.
Chief disagrees with you, Jay.
On what?
And I'm with Chief.
There it is, right there. Space got it first, Buddy Garrity, baby. Good job,
I don't think BV can roll into the SEC again. Maybe without another guy besides Hawkins.
Hey, and Chief, I see where you're coming from there. I don't know how he would have reacted, but I see where you're coming from with the offense they had put together, the offensive line, the scheme. It would have probably been hard, and it wouldn't have probably looked good because it didn't look good.
Mez makes a good point here about the difference between revenue sharing and NIL. People get those two things confused some.
Yeah. Jason in his wheelchair. I'm not sure what that one means. Got to spend at least 20 mil or we'll be 6-6 every year. Yeah, Where do you divvy up the $20 million though? That's the question, and that's why supposedly that's why you're paying these guys. Why do you put your head up like this and throw your head up like that? I don't understand. Because what did I say?
You said, how do you spend the $20 million? So I went, I'm trying to think of how I would split it up, Jay. You asked the question. I'm kind of trying to answer it.
And Hunter drops it in here. Brandon Zurbrugg portal today. So Hunter's saying they have to get 2 more quarterbacks. They want 4 scholarship guys at quarterback, or 3 if the 4th is a fringe guy. And you're probably right on that, Hunter. And I saw a lot of people today wanting Booty back, but I don't know if that would ever happen as a 4th string or whatever.
We might need to have Brian Bedford on again just to talk about some things.
Okay, Tom, I heard this from an OSU guy on the radio who actually donates money, and he said that that's coming, or that's a thing now. But here's the thing. How, for instance, if I'm an owner of a car dealership and I say, hey, I want to give Michael Hawkins this much money, and then it goes through the process and they say, well, he's not worth that much. He's only worth this much. I mean, all that's going to lead to is saying, okay, if he's only worth that much, that's what I'll pay him. And then I'll slip him a little bit more under the table. It's going to lead to illegal stuff. I mean, that's what it's going to lead to. So I don't know the best answer, but that's exactly what it's going to lead to is guys doing it. They're going to go around corners to do it.
Hey, and again, Eric, whether it's 20 or let's say OU says they're going to spend $22 million and they're ranked like 5th in the nation in spending. Again, until I see it and see who they bring in and see that, okay, they had to have spent to get that guy. Right now, some of the guys they're talking about, I'm not thinking they're going to have to spend that much. Might want to spend that money on R. Mason Thomas instead of some of these other guys that you're trying to go get out of the portal. Make sure you get R. Mason Thomas and Dominic Williams back on that defense.
Well, they need to. They need to, for sure. And Aaron, yes, they can enter the portal and come back. No problem. It's not an issue. You can do that. I think the deal is this. If it were me and I was over a team, if I had a solid, okay, you got your team. Now you have guys in the portal. You go identify your 3 biggest needs and you spend a bunch of money on those 3 needs. And that's what I would do. If you need a quarterback, you may have to overspend, but go get a quarterback. If you need a wide receiver, you may have to overspend, go get a wide receiver. At least pay somebody a good amount of money and bring him in and use that money. I don't know. I'm not a GM or anything. I'm not that smart.
Two things here. I agree with Monty. With what OU faced with injuries, I don't think they should go after anyone that's been injured. That may limit your possibility, but it was a horrible year. Injuries. Cam Rising is one you probably definitely don't want to touch with the 10-foot pole, as the Grinch would say. I'm not sure it's a money problem. It's a players seem to not want to come here problem. Greg, I can kind of agree partly with that. I think it's both. I think it's a combo.
Yeah, but the whole coming to OU, if you're offering money to players, they're going to come to OU. I mean, if other teams are offering more money, I mean, it's an all-encompassing thing. You got to be great in all aspects, man.
Jenna, there's a lot, and I haven't looked much at Jeff Caldwell, but there's a lot of receivers I think that are. Again, I am not like super concerned at the receiver position because I think there's some pretty good names in the portal. One that we've heard is at least visiting. 2 of them I think that have OU on the list. That's Hunter and that's Bradley. But to me, it's the quarterback. It's the O-line. It's maybe getting a tackle out of there, getting a quarterback that's going to go in here and be the guy for at least a year and let Hawkins roll as the backup. If there's an injury, Hawkins is in. But if not, he sits a year and then it's his team next year. I mean, unless you get someone else out of the portal.
Yeah, I see some names being thrown there, Sheffield and some other guys. Him and Lombardi just sitting there watching film and evaluating talent. Tight end for me. Tight end's a big position too. And you don't know if you've lost everybody yet. That's the hard part. Who else is going to leave? Now we're on day. It's still the consecutive streak is going. They've lost the guy in the portal every day.
And there'll be more tomorrow, Jay.
I would think so.
Hey,
I would think
there will be more tomorrow. Yeah, there'll be more tomorrow. Hey, thanks so much for the callers tonight. Thanks so much for those that are in the chat. As always, we appreciate it. It was a NIL dominated conversation tonight. But what we do is we go with what the chat's rolling with, and we'll be talking more football each and every day. But tonight,
yeah, I was going to say real quick. We said it to open the show. I got to say it again to close the show, because it doesn't happen at OU very often. You get a first-team All-American, and Danny Stutsman, first-team All-American, Walter Camp. It's a huge accomplishment, massive. He comes back, didn't get injured, gets All-American, helps his draft status. Kudos to him. I think that's great, man. It's positive news, man.
Yeah. Congrats, Danny Stutsman. Well-deserved, great player, legacy player, University of Oklahoma. We'll see everyone tomorrow night. We hope you have a fantastic Friday, Sooner Nation, and we'll check you later.